Good afternoon. I'm Jim Werbaneth. Welcome to my Line of Departure YouTube channel. This is the first video. There will be many others. By way of introduction, I'm an assistant professor of political science at American Public University System, APUS, where I also teach information and digital literacy as a gen ed introductory course. I'm also a um, adjunct professor. They term it associate faculty at the University of Arizona Global Campus, soon to be fully integrated into the University of Arizona. I've taught at a couple other places around Pittsburgh, mainly political science and history, including military history. My academic background is that I have a bachelor's in political science from Duquesne University. I also have a master's in poli-sci from there with a thesis on the ideological foundations of the Salvadoran Revolution, focusing on the FMLN during the mid 1980s. They have since gone on from being insurgents to being a major political party. Now, I went back later when I was at APUS and earned a second master's, this one in military history with a course concentration of World War II. And this has the imprint of their American Military University brand. They, um, they haven't used that quite as much. There seems to be more of a market for political science and digital literacy than there is for military history, unfortunately, but it's the degree I wanted from the time I was 12 years old. I'm also a longtime wargamer and wargame designer. My first game to get published was Incheon on the Korean War invasion. That was published in 1991 in Command Magazine and is scheduled for reissue by Paper Wars, which is owned by Compass Games in Connecticut. My second game was Britain Stands Alone for GMT. This is a large operational scale treatment of the thankfully never executed German Operation Sea Lion to invade the United Kingdom in 1940, postulating that the Germans had won the Battle of Britain. My third game, self-published and then picked up by Lock and Load, is Rommel at Gazala. This is a very simple game on a pivotal World War II battle in Libya, in which Erwin Rommel smashed the British Eighth Army and earned his field marshal's baton. One of the consequences was that the Germans did not invade Malta, which possibly would have won the war in the Mediterranean. And the next stop after Gazala was El Alamein. So it didn't quite work out well for the new field marshal. I hope my fourth game is from Turning Point Simulations, their line of decisive battles, and it's called the Sedova Campaign, covering what was the used to be called Königgrätz, and it's an overall strategic treatment of the Austro-Prussian War in Bohemia in 1866. This was fun to do because I may have had relatives on both sides there. Westphalians who fought for Prussia and Croatians and Slovenians who fought for Austria. Although I think the latter were more likely to have fought in the Italian front. I would like to design more games, but having two jobs, sometimes three, that kind of gets in the way. Plus, being the sole homeowner, the sole housekeeper, if you will, of my home, um, that can interfere with game design as well. Uh, I don't have, it's just me by myself and my dog Dudley, whom I adopted 2 years ago. He was a stray, most probably a Tring Walker Coonhound, who they found wandering the streets of the east end of Pittsburgh. It's now having a very happy life, I hope, in the wilds of Gibsonia, Pennsylvania. He's down on my couch right now. So, yeah, it's just me and my library and my games and my dog. And I've wanted to start a YouTube channel for a while. The the focus here is going to be on military history first and foremost. That is my interest. It's not just something I got a second degree in. It's a long time avocation, and you could say that I've wanted my uh, master's in military history, especially on World War II, for the time I was maybe 12. So I'll be dealing with military history, including the American Revolution, the Civil War, World War II, you name it. Possibly going back to medieval and ancient eras. Secondly, there's going to be political science. I'm not going to get involved so much in partisan politics. That is a little bit of a minefield, and it's something I'm going to try to avoid for the most part. My personal politics may come into it, but it's not going to be front and center. There are enough places you can go for that. But I will be talking about analyzing politics and American government as well, because that's mostly what I've taught, especially at APUS and to a large extent at Arizona. So there will be analysis of American politics, hopefully um, not too biased, not too partisan, trying to show that we can deal with things in a less emotional, less, shall we say, conversion oriented framework. I don't want to say it's going to be just the facts, because when you just give the facts, you're at a descriptive level of not even analysis. But hopefully, I'll be able to give some halfway knowledgeable analysis to go the with those bits of evidence. Um, Wargaming will come into it, because that is my main hobby. That has sometimes been a virtual job when I was very active gaming. Sometimes when times are tough, that's what I relied on, because when times were tough and I was between careers, I didn't have a lot of shame about where I would work. I did a lot of temp work. I did merchandising, construction cleanup. I was a janitor. In one, don't call it a career, it was a job. I was a secretary for 5 years. I had, it wasn't even really a career, because sometimes just staying at a job at a long time or staying at a employer doesn't make a career. But I was at a place they still call the First National Bank of Evil for 8 years. Not a lot of fun. I don't recommend it. 1 star, would not recommend. And I kind of fell into teaching. I had an opportunity and I took it. It was a little bit of a gamble at the time, but it sure has paid off. Now, when I was doing all those other jobs, I was writing for war game publications. I was designing games. I was staff developer at Turning Point for about 10 years. That was something to keep from going insane and bring a little bit of money in. But if you get into the war game design and development field, don't count on a lot of money. You can make hundreds of dollars a year. So I've done a whole lot of things. Some of them good, some of them bad. Some of them were attempts at a career. I sold insurance for about 6 months. I still maintain my license, but all of it really pales next to being a professor, specifically an online professor. So, what can you expect here? You can expect, like I said, war game, military history, American history, political science. You can expect some videos on basic information literacy and critical thinking. That's something I've taught an awful lot, especially at APUS and hopefully in the future at the University of Arizona. But things on how to cut through BS that you may see in not just the news, but academic sources, um, call it bogus analysis, some of the stuff you might see on cable TV. I won't say which channels because I wouldn't be above working for any of them if they ever called. But you see stuff on TV, you might think differently of it if you have a little bit of a background and you can cut through what is sensationalist and what isn't. You may see things like that. You'll see a lot of what just interests me. But it is going to be centered on the history, political science, and wargaming, three legs of the stool. And I'm going to have some fun with this, I think. And I certainly hope that all of you do too, because this is presented for several purposes. First of all, I want to be able to have a little bit of fun. Secondly, I think that this is the wave of the future. The printed word is good. I still publish Line of Departure magazine. I'm trying to get that out of hiatus after a long period of distraction, some of them good, some of them bad. But I do maintain the printed venue. Also, I have a couple pages dedicated, centered on Line of Departure, including one of online features, articles including stuff that I wrote in graduate school in military history. And you'll see videos too that draw on that. And what I'm doing too, a lot of this is going to be with the purpose that students, including graduate students, can use it as sources for academic work. That I'm going to try to have enough rigor in here that you could show it, you can use it in a project. And you know what too, if you have a professor that says that's not allowed, send them my direction. And I will talk to them. But I want this to be an academic source. I want it to be something that people can use for research, for your college papers, for your projects, also for game designers, for people too that just have a intellectual curiosity. One of the things I've maintained for a long time is that we don't have great control over our intelligence. You either got it or you don't. I won't pretend to have it. But there's one part of intelligence that you can control to a large extent, and that's intellectual curiosity. And I want to be able to satisfy that among people and help them develop it in themselves. Answer some questions, and better yet, get you to ask some more of your own and go on and do further research. So that's in the mix too. And as another consequence, I wouldn't mind making a passive income from this. I doubt that I'll be able to do it as well as the girls on Instant Fans. Maybe you'll end up paying me to keep my clothes on, but getting a passive income, monetizing this, that is something I would really like to do. Make money while I sleep and do it with my brain and not just, gambling, playing the stock market, which I've been halfway good at and also pretty terrible at other times, but something that's a little more dependable, a little more sure, and something too that also provides a product for people. Something that you can use besides me just feeding my ego, that you can use this for professional and academic work. And there are times too you'll look at something and say, I can't. Well, guess what? Just ignore it. Maybe just have some fun with it too. But it's going to have several purposes and it's going to be aimed at a lot of people. And I'm going to try to keep things academic, but also not to the point that anyone is intellectually intimidated. I hate that. Or they think I'm talking down to them, which I'm terrible at that. I'm spending enough time down below myself that I'm not going to do that, and I'm probably ill-equipped to do so. So, this is my first video. This is my self-introduction. And again, welcome to my new YouTube channel, Jim Werbaneth's Line of Departure channel. And if you like it, like and subscribe. Go to jimwerbaneth.com if you want to see more, including if you want to subscribe to Line of Departure magazine. That's especially for the wargamers out there. I've been running that since 1991, and this is another part of the Line of Departure Multiverse. So, welcome aboard, and stay tuned, and we'll try to have some fun and maybe learn something along the way, and hopefully I will too. Thank you for your time, and I'll catch you down the road.